Hey YouTube, it's Travis with another beacon video. It's been a while since I've made one, and in that time I've grown my collection a little bit. I've got two more 300mm beacons, as you can see. This one right here is a TWR beacon. That is another Crouse-Hinds FCB-12, like the green one I've explained in another video. And this box over here is hopefully what's going to turn out to be a functioning flasher system for a radio tower. So we'll get into these beacons a little bit and hopefully get them fired up and show them flashing with a proper flashing unit. My green beacon over there, like I said, I made a video on it, but I didn't have a flasher for it, and now I finally do. So yeah, let's get these opened up and hopefully they have good bulbs in them. If not, I have a couple extra I can throw in them, see if we can make some light. All right, I got the flasher control panel out of the box. I'm happy to say that it definitely does work. This is a TWR AA1M flasher for an incandescent system. In usual fashion, this is not how you should be wiring this, but a quick overview. Down here you have a normal and override test operation switch. You have your line in over here and then line out. This is a fuse bank. This goes to the flashing beacon on the top. This, as far as I can tell, is not used in this application, and these are for the side marker lights on a beacon tower. All these relays right here are for alarms. So if the light burns out or something isn't working correctly, none of this I'll ever be using, so I don't really care about that. Haven't done anything with it. Right here, this is a load-bearing relay, which actually serves as the contactor for the beacon. And then you have a couple more little relays here in the actual solid-state flasher for the beacon. So the way I have this set up, it's just the code beacon here, and I will get it plugged in and show you how it works. All right, I'm not going to do this for very long. I'm not using really appropriately sized wiring for this, but this is more just proof of concept. So I do have power on the system right now. I'll go ahead and throw it over into manual. You can hear the relay click on and the beacon starts to cycle. Has a decent hum to it. Not super loud, you can definitely talk over it. It's kind of hard to tell, but the treble light does illuminate between cycles. So it is working the way it's supposed to. Again, I don't really have this wired up completely how it should be, and moving forward I'm going to use some bigger wiring on it, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what that looks like when it's actually powered up. So let me power it back down here and I'll get this unplugged and we'll move on to the two beacons. Again, this is a Crouse-Hinds FCB-12. Looks like a date code of 1179, so pushing right at 44 years. Now 700 watts. This I believe has 620 watt bulbs in it, but we'll get into that in a second. But there's a data plate for those who are interested. All right, looking at the bottom of the beacon here, or the bottom half of it, you can see you have an inner red filter, which makes that red light a very well used bulb down there. And then down in the bottom, you can see there's a power bus. It looks actually different than the one on my older FCB-12. It has a porcelain like circular power bus on it. Moving up here to the top, again, definitely well worn. My other one's new, so it's interesting to see one that has had some service out of it. This bulb looks a little bit better, maybe it's a little bit newer. It is inverted from the other one though, so it doesn't have black on the top like the other one does. Yeah, let me see if I can get those inner filters out and get this cleaned up just a little bit. All right, I got the inner red filters removed. There's some rust and dirt down in there, but otherwise it's in pretty good condition. The sockets definitely look good. There's some corrosion on the internal supports there, but the wiring doesn't look bad. Seal actually doesn't look too bad either. It's a little dirty, but I'm gonna get in here with some cleaner and try to clean up the lenses a little bit, just so it shines a little brighter. All right, here are the two bulbs that were in the Crouse-Hinds beacon, as well as the inner red filters, which I have cleaned with some non-residue leaving, like alcohol-based glass cleaner. Cleaned up really well, nice and shiny. Like I said, this is the lower bulb I was talking about. You can tell that the heat with it going up, it's definitely a well-used bulb. That's the top bulb. I think it's a little bit newer, but they may be the same age. And then going on over to the actual beacon, I cleaned the inside and the outside of it, so shined up pretty good. I haven't done anything to the metal. Eventually I will restore this beacon and get all the corrosion off of there, but for now I think it looks fine. All right, moving along to the TWR 300mm beacon. This is definitely much newer than the Crouse-Hinds. However, it is the same basic size and shape. That has to do with the government speccing out how these beacons would be made and the beam pattern that they would produce. That goes all the way back to the light airmail system of, 100 years ago at this point. So any beacon of this type that you're going to see uses the same bulbs, same basic lens shape, and there's some minute differences, but they all have to have the same mounting base. They all need to, again, put the same beam pattern out. They have to all basically be interchangeable for any application. So we'll get a look at the inside of this guy. All right, here is the top section. This doesn't have any inner filters because the glass is actually red on this. Later beacons all transition to all red glass. It's just easier. Those inner filters are kind of fragile. They're easier to break. It's just easier for them to produce all red glass moving forward. This one obviously has some newer bulbs in it. Like I said, it is a newer unit in general, but still same basic principle. You have two 620 watt or 700 watt bulbs in there. They're the same bulbs that are used in the other beacons of other manufacturers. There's your power bus down there. You got your wiring going up to the top. This beacon's in pretty good condition. I actually got this a few weeks ago. It had a busted bulb in it on the inside. The person that I bought it from, I think, just never opened it because they said the bulbs were busted. And so they gave me a huge discount on it. I got it for way less than you'd find these things on eBay. But when I opened it up, there was just a busted bulb in the bottom, but it still had two new good functioning bulbs in it, and no one ever bothered to clean out the glass from the old bulb. So I sucked all that out with a vacuum and cleaned up the glass, and it looks pretty good. All right, well, that's about it for these two beacons. This beacon I'm actually going to be making into a lamp that I'm going to put in my office. I want to get like a 3 or 5 foot section of 45G tower, and I put this on top of it, and I have a couple side marker lights I want to put on the sides. I'm going to swap out the big bulbs in there for smaller sockets and some really dim bulbs, and it'll just be kind of a cool thing that sits in the corner and lights up red. I don't know, it's just an idea I had. I think it'll turn out good. I'll make a video of that when I do it.